Steak done well, an integrated temperature and pressure sensor fusion app to enhance your cooking. So how do we cook the perfect steak? Whenever we see that on cookbooks or YouTube videos, we always see some sort of qualitative data and maybe an inner temperature to cook it up to. But we know that just hot or some temperature isn't just the end objective. But we can't just rely on somebody saying firm or juicy either. We need to be a little bit more precise. However, current application research focus so far is on specifying raw meat types for the industry. So for the chef, I have a novel app integrating pressure and temperature sensors to cook beef more accurately. It will combine a pressure load cell, which is similar to tensile tests, but with a blunt edge for cutting and shear force test, and metal temperature probe to measure an inner temperature, not infrared. And it will be approximately a handheld device and will give you basic advice on what to do. So here are some estimated conditions. All of these conditions are estimated with available literature data from previous meat hardness and other agricultural literature. And all of these ranges fall within standard operating ranges for load cells and other sensors that you can find handheld online. Here's some example data streams, some pressure force graphs of shear force over displacement, and obviously you can do this over time too, at various stages of being cooked and just raw. Here's an example temperature stream. Obviously this isn't exactly beef, it's something I measured with my Pocket Lab heating a solid, but you can kind of see the initial heating over time into the constant region above. So what are we looking out for exactly? We need a max temperature, or we need a final temperature, and we can alert the user to when that temperature hits a certain bound. And for pressure, we can just measure peak force to measure meat hardness, which is a standard measurement in literature. But we can also use the area underneath the shear force graph for other measurements, such as chewiness or springiness or whatever, that are also given often in agricultural data. So how do we process this? How do we get the user to interact with this? We can predict temperature changes and pressure changes over time using extrapolation, using fitted models from data. And what we want to do now is we want to optimize. We want to minimize the hardness, but we want to get to the proper temperature, whether that's rare or medium or well done or whatever. And we want to give the user basic advice on increasing or decreasing temperature and when to stop cooking and estimated times. So here's a sample UI mockup. You have the data on the side. You can calibrate, you can update the data throughout regular sessions by putting it on the meat and sensing it with blunt edge. We can customize the settings, and we can also have some basic recommendations and a given estimated finish time. So I specifically needed this combination of sensors to create a more complete picture of how the meat will be cooked. I need temperature and pressure sensors for optimization. If I only had used the temperature sensor, it would ignore many other factors that would affect the quality of the cooked meat. Later on, I could also add other sensors, such as reflectance sensors, to help gauge further difference between the initial meat that's been calibrated by the sensor and properly cooked meat that I want to get to. Thanks for watching.